We've just come out of the festival of Sukkot. Here in Israel. Just got a l'chaim over here because Issru Chag, the day, let's just say after Sukkot itself, the night after Sukkot itself, is like an extension of the festival. So it's a time period to have joy, to be in real state of simcha and enjoy and party. There's many different celebrations of hakafot, shniot that are taking place all over the city of Bet Shemesh. Obviously, in the diaspora, people will be keeping 2 days of Sukkot at the moment, so it's still technically it is a festival in outside of the land of Israel, but here in Israel, people still are celebrating. We've got this extension of Sukkot here tonight, and we spoke all about this at the time period of Pesach. I remember, I think last year and also the year before, on the night after Pesach, that Issru Chag itself, which is also known as Motzei Pesach or Motzei Sukkot, or Motzei Shavuot, let's just say in itself, is an extension of the festival itself. Also, very good news. A lot of the living hostages, if I'm not mistaken, they returned. I think it was either yesterday or it was in the last 48 hours. I'm not sure exactly when it was. That's where many people are elated in the country within regards to this. We hope there's going to be a massive circle of peace that's going to take place in the long term from this. It's been exactly 2 years now since we've had this, so that's what we are all praying for, and obviously we still want all the bodies back also as we are speaking. But at the moment we are continuing the series. At the moment we're on page 31 of Masechet Zevachim and making fantastic progress. We've already done 1 month of this tractate of Talmud learning, and we've been talking all about different korbanot, sacrifices, over here inside this series already. We've been speaking about various different scenarios when you're bringing a sacrifice, a korban. Have you got proper thoughts or not? Have you done it in the correct place? Has the intentions been correct? And Rabbi Mendel Weinbach, Masechet Tzadik Debracha, gives a very interesting insight in today's page, coming from Amud Aleph in page number 31. Now, he says a major part of this tractate of Zevachim deals with the concept, as we stated before, pigul, the disqualification of a sacrifice resulting from the priest, the Kohen, having in mind, while performing one of the 4 vital services, that the meat of the sacrifice will be consumed beyond the time limit set by the Torah. That's what we've learned. Now, the question is this rule limited to human consumption over here? While it certainly applies as well to the consumption of its blood or innards or on, let's say, the altar. Remember, there's a whole process how to, do the sacrificial service in of itself. There's many diagrams I was telling my son, which he was learning, I think, inside his school, the different protocols, what's to be done while they were learning in Sefer Vayikra. I think it was in Parshat Vayikra or Parshat Tzav, if I'm not mistaken. This was about half a year ago. There is still the question as to whether it also applies to eating the meat by an animal. Now, Rabbi Yanai in today's page offers an interesting source for ruling that if the Kohen had in mind the sacrificial meat would be eaten by dogs beyond the time limit for consumption, the result would be pigul, as we've mentioned before. Now, the prophet Elijah, Eliyahu Hanavi, he predicted that the dogs shall eat the flesh of Izebel. Remember, this was actually featured in the second book of Melachim, chapter number 9, 36, as a punishment for the, let's say, propagation of idol worship by, let's say, this wicked queen of Israel. She was, as many places will state. This indicates that the consumption by dogs is also considered eating. What about consumption by other animals? Now, in his commentary, there was a great rabbi named Rabbi Yaakov Emden. He directed, let's say, us to the confrontation between King David and the giant Goliath, which mentioned David and Goliath, the whole story over there. Outraged by King David's challenging him with a puny slingshot, the Philistine giant cried over there, "Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the beasts of the field." This is what's said over in Shmuel number 2, the second book, chapter 17, verse 24. Now, the Midrash states that upon hearing this, let's say, taunt, King David concluded that the giant was deranged, since domesticated animals are not accustomed to meat, and that he would therefore succeed in defeating him. That was the sign. Now, based on this Midrash, he concludes that having in mind the consumption of sacrificial meat by animals will not result in this pigul status over here. Very, very interesting. The disqualification of the sacrifice resulting from the Kohen having in mind for performing one of the 4 vital services. Very interesting enough. And friends, we're a community here. We're learning daily tidbits here on the Daf Yomi. We've just spoken about page 31 of Masechet Zevachim. And please watch over all the previous videos. We've already recorded an astounding 30 on this, and we recorded about 1,000 videos already, or plus, maybe 1,100, 1,200 videos on daily tidbits of the Daf Yomi since we started Masechet Ketubot. So wishing everyone an Issru Chag Sameach over here, and celebrate, let's pray, and make sure it's a good year. Don't forget also, friends, and now in the Shemon Esrei, in the Amida, which we say every single day in the Tefillot, we have to say Mashiv Haruach Mordi Geshem, as opposed to Morid Hatal, which we were saying before. So, L'chaim, Issru Chag Sameach, and take care. Thanks for watching, everyone.